Because inside here, if you have this heat blasting on that animal, it's going to create a little oven situation. It's going to heat up really quick. So let's turn on the vehicle here. I want to show you actually how hot it gets. Hey guys, it's Colin at Tye-Dyed. In today's video, we're going to be discussing a very important topic, especially this time of year with those colder temperatures and really in the summer when those temperatures get really hot. Today's video is all about how to safely transport your new pet home once you get it from us. When you receive your new pet from us to take it home, typically you'll receive it in one of two ways. If it's a smaller animal or an animal that requires a little bit higher humidity, typically those animals you'll receive in a deli cup with nicely drilled holes. And then larger animals you'll typically receive in a sealed box. Now, depending on the time of year, the associate's going to package the animal differently for you, depending on what the conditions are outside. So let's say, for example, if it's in the 70s and it's nice and breezy outside that day, not too hot, generally you'll be fine to transport the animal home directly in the cup, just like this. But if the weather's like it is now this time of year, really cold, anything under 45, generally they'll give you a cup and then a lot of times too a small box to go on the outside. That'll just block the chill from the cup. Now that is as far as packaging the animal to take home. So we want to keep it in the package. We don't want to take it out on our way home. That's number one. Any animal you get from us, it's going to have the appropriate ventilation, so you don't have to worry about that. Now the next thing is we're going to talk about, and this is where most problems arise. It tends to happen about once or twice a year. People improperly transport them home. So let's head out to the car and let's take a look at the proper way we should be handling this on our way home. All right, so we made it out to our vehicle and we're getting ready to head home with our new animal. Now, just a quick thing, since it's already really cold outside. So for example, ground temperature right now, 28 degrees. So temperatures are pretty low. And my car has been sitting here for about an hour and it's off, but it's been in the sun. So just to give you an idea, you'd think it's pretty cold on the inside, right? Actually, it's about 79 degrees in the car right now. So actually, we're at perfect temperature. So when we have our reptile in the car, we want to make sure we have him in our little secondary box. And then whoever job it is to hold the reptile home on the way home, you want to make sure that if you're sitting in the passenger seat, you have your vents facing away, you're not getting blasted. Because inside here, if you have this heat blasting on that animal, it's going to create a little oven situation. It's going to heat up really quick. So let's turn on the vehicle here. I want to show you actually how hot it gets. Because people think, oh, it's not that warm to me, right? Except our body temperature is a lot higher than the reptiles. So if we feel that it's warm, it's going to be really warm for those reptiles. So let's turn on the car here to see how hot we can get the vents going. So to give you an idea, with the vents on, and this is just blowing with a max heat basically, so you think, oh, it feels nice and warm, the reptile should be comfortable, right? Except for the fact that it's blowing 102 degrees out of the vents right now, directly on that box. So if you're sitting right here, an average person, this box is getting blasted with 100, right now it's at 104 degrees coming out of that vent. So way too warm. So when you're transporting it home, vents on low should be like at a 1 or a 2, nothing that hot. As long as the cabin is in the 70s, we're fine. We don't need to add any supplemental heat. You don't need to blast them with heat. Reptiles are a lot more tolerant of cold temperatures for a longer period of time, or cooler temperatures rather, than they are of excessive heat. So when you're transporting these guys home, make sure the blowers are not on in the car. If they're on at all, if it's super duper cold, make sure it's a 1 or a 2, and make sure they're not getting blasted directly. Because like I said, even if I turn these blowers on, so right now, that surface temperature is 109, 111. So super hot. That is way too hot for animals, and especially for if you had a sensitive animal like our amphibian Kermit here, he would be cooked. This would be no good for him. So have the vents off in the car. And the same thing too, we see this a lot in the summer. Do not leave your animal in the vehicle for any reason. I don't care if it's just to go into Schnucks or whatever for just a minute. Temperatures can rapidly rise. It's just like having a dog in the car. Things like that as well. Another issue I see too is in the summertime, people take a deli cup, they put it in the dash. It's literally like a easy bake oven up there with the glass. You don't want to do that. So just make sure, keep your animal nice and on the lap. Make sure he's not getting blasted with the vents. Not a bad idea if you're the passenger. Just go ahead and close the vents on your side until you guys get home comfortably. And just remember, they can tolerate a lot lower temperatures than you would think for a longer period of time. Most people don't have more than an hour drive. And another pro tip, if you're really concerned about it, you're more than welcome to bring a small styrofoam cooler, or we also sell insulated styrofoam boxes. They're really cheap. And that's another way to kind of safeguard and keep that temperature nice and equalized without worrying about those temperature spikes. One more thing too, just like with the heat, in the cold especially, do not leave your vehicle or do not leave your animal in the car for any reason. So if you have to run into the gas station, anything like that, don't do it. If you're gonna run any errands or anything like that, make sure Tye-Dyed Iguana is your last stop for the day if you're taking home feeders or an animal. The same things we talked about today for animals and pets, they also apply to feeders, crickets, roaches, and rodents. So don't leave any of those in the car too. We see that in the summertime a lot too, especially when you have a lot of rats in the box and it gets super duper sweaty because people are like leaving them up in the dash and they get way too overheated and the poor rats are all sweaty. So just remember, go straight home. Don't leave feeders or animals in your car for any reason. If you have any questions about transporting your reptile home, be sure to ask an associate in store or send us a message online and we will be absolutely happy to walk you through on what to do and what not to do. Have an awesome day, guys.